Today, we're going to dive into some police body cam footage to see exactly how a routine visit to a police station lobby can completely explode into a full-blown arrest. Let's break it down. So, how does that even happen? It's a critical question, right? We're going to trace the exact moments that took this from a verbal dispute to a taser being used, and ultimately, some very serious felony charges. Okay, so to really get why this situation went off the rails so fast, we have to look at the pressure that was already building up before this couple even walked through the door. On the surface, this is about as routine as it gets. They're just there to do some required paperwork. It should have been a simple, in-and-out kind of task. A total non-event. But this right here, this is the key piece of context from his girlfriend. This guy isn't just having a bad day. They just lost their house payment. They have nowhere to live. So he's walking into that police station carrying this enormous weight, this incredible stress, and that stress is basically the fuel for the fire we're about to see. All right, so with all that pressure simmering just under the surface, let's watch how it quickly boils over into a direct confrontation with the officers in that lobby. And boom, right out of the gate, his language is just so aggressive. He's not just frustrated. He is immediately drawing a line in the sand, creating this hostile us versus them dynamic from the jump. You can hear the officer trying to set a boundary there, trying to de-escalate by giving him an out. But the man's response, yeah, kick me out. Well, that's not just defiance. He's practically inviting them to escalate things further. In this right here, this is a critical turning point. It's not just words anymore. By closing that distance, by physically moving towards an officer in an aggressive way, his words now have action behind them. In response, the officer is crystal clear. That's not a threat he's making. It's a stated consequence. A line has been crossed, and the man is being told exactly what's going to happen if he keeps pushing. The warnings have been given, the lines have been drawn, so now we're at that moment, that point of no return, where this whole thing shifts from a tense confrontation to a physical arrest. You can see the process unfold in clear steps. The officer gives a lawful command, one that's directly about safety, showing his hands. The man refuses to comply, and for the officers, that non-compliance, on top of everything else he's done, well, it forces them to act. Because the man continues to be non-compliant, an officer uses a taser. Now, in a situation like this, a taser is really designed for one thing: to gain control quickly and stop a situation from becoming a physical fight where people could get seriously hurt. And listen to this. This highlights the massive disconnect in perception here. In the man's mind, he wasn't resisting at all. But from the officer's perspective, refusing to follow commands while acting aggressively is the very definition of resistance. So why the forceful arrest? Why bring out the taser? Let's break down the officer's own explanation right there on the scene. It really all comes down to a reasonable fear of being attacked. So here you have it, two totally different realities side by side. The suspect says he was arrested for no reason. The officer says the man's menacing look and behavior made him fear for his safety, fear of receiving a battery. It's the same event, just seen through two completely different lenses. And this list really shows you the specific chain of events that built the officer's case for feeling threatened. It wasn't just one thing. It was a rapid pileup of screaming, threats to fight, bragging about past arrests, and then physically advancing on them. And the final straw was refusing that key safety command to show his hands. Okay, so that's what happened on the ground. But how does this all translate legally? Let's bring in an expert analysis to really understand what these charges mean. We've got some analysis from Deputy Sheriff Trent Pryor, and he's going to help us move from the chaos of the moment to, the much more clinical language of the law and police procedure. Now, this right here is the absolute core legal idea at play. For a charge of aggravated assault on a peace officer, you don't actually have to hit them. You just have to create the reasonable fear that you're about to hit them. And the man's actions, his posture, his words, they all combine to create that fear in the officer. And this explains the why from a police training perspective. That command to show your hands isn't just random. It's a fundamental safety protocol because an officer is trained to see hands as potential weapons. That aggressive stance isn't just disrespect. It's what they call a pre-fight indicator, a signal that an attack might be imminent. So when it's all said and done, the charges directly line up with the events we just walked through. You've got aggravated assault for creating that fear of an attack and resisting arrest for failing to follow those commands. It all connects. And as Deputy Pryor reminds us, this is a really crucial final point.
An arrest and charges are just the beginning of the legal process, not the end. The final call on guilt or innocence, that happens in a courtroom.
And all of this really leaves us with one big final question. In these incredibly high-stress moments, where exactly is the line between just being agitated and actually committing an assault? What this whole incident shows is how blurry that line can be and how quickly it can be crossed. It shows that in just a few minutes, a person's words and posture can become a weapon, and the perception of a threat can be just as powerful as the threat itself.